Hi, my name is Brendan Feinstein, and football has always been one of my favorite sports to watch and to play and everything. But the NFL, as a part of football, has always been one of my top passions. But I never truly realized that officiating was one of my passions until I actually got the job as a graduate assistant for the recreation programs here at Rider University, where I train our student staff members to become officials for sports like dodgeball, flag football, basketball, basically every sport. And I never really realized how important officiating was and how much it truly can affect the outcome of a game. So let me see by a show of hands, who here consistently watches the NFL Sunday, Thursday night, Monday night? Exactly, pretty much everybody. Who here saw this, known as the Immaculate Deception, the Fail Mary, whether it was on ESPN or anything? So everybody here has seen and heard. So I truly think that I want to talk about the replacement officials and my passion for the NFL officiating. I think the NFL replacement officials are damaging the credibility of the NFL as a whole. I think it's also causing unneeded stress for coaches and players who participate in the NFL, and I think it's affecting the overall fan experience for the game of football and the NFL as a whole. According to an article that I read on the Kentucky.com sports section, it talked about how the New Orleans Saints played the Carolina Panthers a few weeks back, and how one of the officials got pulled an hour before the game from officiating that game. And I thought that was crazy to read about and hear about, and it was because a lot of fans, maybe Carolina Panthers fans or family or anybody in general, he sent emails, letters, and phone calls to the head of the NFL, Roger Goodell, to let him know that this guy was a New Orleans Saints fan. They sent him pictures of this guy tailgating New Orleans Saints games, and also, pictures of him just supporting the New Orleans Saints, which I thought that really showed that really damaged the credibility of the NFL. I think that the players, the coaches, both sides of the field in that game and every game from further than on would say, hey, is that official who's working across the field for me, is he a fan of the other team? Is this game going to cost me because the official is a fan of another team? So I thought that was really interesting, and I thought that really hurt credibility of the NFL. I did 2 interviews with officials, one being a high school football official who also had a little part-time junior college officiating, which is the same credentials as this referee right here, who is known from the simultaneous catch. And I asked him, how do you feel that this guy got pulled from the Saints game? How do you feel being a fan of either a sport or a sporting team and officiating a game? And he said to me, when he shows up to work, when he puts those zebra stripes on, it's all work. It's nothing to do with being a fan. It's all work all the time when he's there. And I also, that was Greg Zacks, who's the high school football official. I also interviewed an NCAA Division I basketball official, Andrew Murata, and he told me, to the same question, that he is his parents both went to St. John's, and he obviously has a St. John's background in his family, and he's a huge fan of them, and his parents are diehard fans of them. But he said when he goes out on the court, whether it's St. John's or anybody else, he sees red and white, blue and yellow, and he calls fouls based off of that. He doesn't look at the name on the front of the jersey. He just looks at the number on the back of the jersey and what color the teams are wearing, saying foul on purple, foul on red, basically done by that. And I thought those 2 responses from actual officials showed that being a fan isn't really something that matters when you're out there, and for the NFL to pull this official really hurt the credibility of the NFL. Right here is a quote. I want to start talking about the unneeded stress that's occurring for players and coaches around the NFL. This is a quote from the quarterback Michael Vick of the Philadelphia Eagles, and this came after they were playing the Baltimore Ravens in Philadelphia when both teams were undefeated. It was a huge game for both teams, win or lose, and Michael Vick said it's extra stress when you have to sit there and wait. The one thing you don't want to do is put the game in the officials' hands. And I thought that was a strong statement because during that game, there was a play that went to the replay booth, and one of the replacement officials had to go under the hood and make a decision that really could have affected the outcome of the game. And Michael Vick, along with Andy Reid, the head coach, and players are all sitting on the sideline thinking, could this referee truly make an incorrect call and cost us this game? And I thought that was something that was really interesting when I read that about Michael Vick. Also, I think that the NFL replacement officials are really hurting the fan experience and the overall outcome for fans. And I read an article on Freak.com where a bunch of bloggers and analysts about the NFL got asked 10 questions about the replacement officials. And one question that really stood out to me was the question asked about the viewers and the ratings. and they said that in the beginning of the season, the NFL actually could have possibly had one of the top 3 rated seasons since 1989, which is ridiculous. And I really thought that was a strong statement, but then right after that, they said in the past 2 weeks, the ratings went down 4%, which shows, because the past couple of weeks on ESPN and anywhere you watch, you can see how they're showing how these NFL replacement officials are really affecting these games, and it's taking a toll on the fans who are losing interest in watching the NFL on a constant basis. So I thought that was a really, really strong response to the question. That was a statistic right there. That's not opinion. That's just showing that fans are actually getting affected by these NFL replacement officials. Now here I want to show you a couple quotes from players and coaches and ESPN analysts. We have a couple Hall of Famers on here as well. Coach Mike McCarthy of the Green Bay Packers said, "I have never seen anything like that in my time in football," and that was right after that Monday Night Football game. And obviously he wanted to say a lot more negative things, but he knows how the NFL is with fines and everything like that. And he didn't want to, he represents the Packers as a classy organization. He didn't want to take anything stronger than that. But for him to say that he's never seen anything like that for someone who's been in the NFL for almost 35 years, that is crazy. Hall of Fame quarterback Troy Aikman, who's an icon in the NFL, said these games are a joke. And that's someone who really pours his heart into the NFL. He's been playing in the NFL, participating in the NFL, analyzing for the longest time throughout his life, and he really dedicates himself to the NFL, and for him to say that is crazy. John Gruden, who was actually analyzing the game, said it was tragic and comical. Steve Young said the NFL took a gamble with negotiations and replacement officials, and it obviously lost, which is a strong statement, because he was preaching how the NFL and the fans wouldn't be affected by this. Trent Dilfer said the NFL is insulting my intelligence, it's insulting you, and the fans' intelligence as a whole, which really shows how it affects the fans of this game. And Adam Schefter, the ESPN insider, who's known for fantasy football and giving all constant updates, said this season will have an asterisk next to it. And I got these from ESPN.com, an article, and from Twitter. And I just want to end this with a quote that was from one of the questions I asked Andrew Murata, the NCAA Division I basketball official. I said, do you feel as an official you can affect the outcome of the game? And he was saying to me, players affect the outcome of the game. Players make the final play, the decision, their coaches make the play. But then at the end he said, I'm going to call a foul when it happens, no matter the time in the game, because I'm hired to do so. We as officials have to make those calls out of the respect of the game. And reading that last line and rereading it and hearing it come out of his mouth really showed me how these NFL replacement officials are damaging the NFL and the respect that the players, the coaches, and fans have for the game. Thank you very much.